One of the best things that the internet has given us is this DIY culture where people want to learn how to do simple repairs at home on their own, whether it be fixing an appliance or just getting their lawnmower started. You better believe there's a YouTube video on how to do it. I started this YouTube channel just doing really simple car DIYs and showing people that no matter what your skill level is, you'd be surprised at how much you can do yourself with some really basic tools. In this video, I'm going to go over everything that's in my toolbox, that way you guys will be able to tackle your first automotive DIY. So the first thing is just like a regular metric socket set, and this is like the absolute bare essential thing that you're going to need for pretty much any maintenance or modification that you want to do on your car. In between the BMW and our Scion FRS, I find that 8mm through about 22mm is a really good range that gets me through most projects, whether it be under the hood or in the suspension. The next tool that you're going to want to buy is a decent full-size floor jack. Now when I first started working on cars, I just used to use the little baby jack, you know, the one that comes with a spare tire that you have to hand crank, and that thing sucks. It's not really designed for you to be able to work on your car. It's really more of an emergency jack, so eventually I got this medium-sized one, and this one is okay, it gets the job done, but it's still not the best. And then kind of recently I got a legitimate full-size 3-ton floor jack, you know, the kind that you just slide the whole thing under the car, and it just makes your life so much easier. It makes lifting up your car really effortless, and you're gonna kick yourself for not buying one sooner. So highly recommend that you get a floor jack, and if you have a lowered car like mine, be sure that you get a low profile one, that way you can slide under the car without scraping on the bumper. So definitely recommend that, and just be sure to check your owner's manual to find the exact jacking point so that you don't accidentally damage your car while you're jacking it up. So while we're on the topic of jacks, I should mention that these jack stands are a critical safety tool whenever you're jacking your car up. You never want the full weight of the car just resting on the jack itself. You want to jack the car up and then use these to support the weight of the car. Now the way that this one works is it just lifts up and you can raise it as high as you need to while you're working. And then when you're done, you take this off the car, you just pull this lever and it'll go back down for you nice and easy. So highly recommend these. You have to use jack stands whenever you're jacking your car up, especially if you're going to be working underneath it. Another tool that you're going to want to pick up is a torque wrench like this. So if you've ever looked up any kind of automotive DIY, you probably noticed something like torque this bolt to 20 pound-feet or something like that. So every nut and bolt on your car has a torque specification, which is just a really precise measurement of exactly how tight everything needs to be. So without using a torque wrench, you're really just guessing on the tightness. You could possibly over tighten something and strip a bolt, or you could not tighten something enough and have it come loose over time. You don't want that to happen. So like a commenter on one of my videos said, use a torque wrench or learn the consequences. If you're going to be doing any kind of work on your interior, whether it's upgrading your speakers or hardwiring a dash cam, I highly recommend a set of these interior trim removal tools. Now these are really great. They usually come in a kit that gives you a couple different sizes, so you get the exact angle or the exact shape for the part that you're trying to remove. And the good thing about these is that they're just made out of plastic, so you're not going to damage your trim in the process like you would if you were trying to use like a flathead screwdriver or something like that that could possibly damage the trim. Definitely pick up a set of these for safe trim removal. When you're working on your car, occasionally you'll come across these weird screws that have a star shape on the top as opposed to a traditional Phillips head or flathead. Now these are torque screws, and they're going to use special torque screwdrivers to be able to remove them. BMW uses these torque screws pretty extensively throughout their cars, so I highly recommend that you pick up a set for your next especially BMW related DIY project. So this wheel socket is another one of those tools that I wish I would have got a long time ago. It's just like a regular 17mm deep well socket, but it has this really soft protective sleeve to protect the paint on the wheel when you're taking the bolts off. So highly recommend one of these, especially if you have nice aftermarket wheels. You want to keep them looking fresh, so use one of these protective wheel sockets. So let's talk oil change supplies. Now oil changes are one of the most fundamental automotive DIYs, and if you don't want to touch any other part on the whole car, I think that it's a good idea to be able to change your own oil. You're going to save thousands of dollars over time by doing the simple maintenance yourself as opposed to just going to the dealership for it. Now if your car uses the cartridge style oil filters like mine does, where you've got the plastic oil filter cap on the top, I highly recommend picking up one of these oil filter wrenches. You can see the inside. It fits perfectly onto your oil filter cap, and then you can put a ratchet, just like a regular ratchet extension, on there, and that gives you the proper leverage that you need to be able to remove this, as opposed to, like, you know, trying to use your gorilla strength and you know, do it by hand. It's not always easy to get off, but definitely pick one of these up. Not only will this help you get it off easier, but you can also tighten it to the correct torque specification. If you look on the top of your oil filter cap, it does actually have a torque spec, so you can use this with your torque wrench that I talked about earlier and make sure that you get it on nice and tight. For draining your old oil, I really like like this style of oil drain pan. Basically, it's got a hole in the top so all the oil will drain into this container. It's got a cap on it so you can take it to your local auto parts store to recycle the used oil. They'll dump it out for you and hand you this container back, and you're good to go. You can take this home and use it again for your next oil change. And then whenever you're handling used motor oil, it's always a good idea to use these chemical resistant gloves like these. It's always just good to have these on hand, no pun intended, but yeah, it also just keeps your hands clean, which is nice. So that's it for my basic toolkit. Leave a comment down below if there's any specific tools that you think that a first-time DIYer needs to have. I'm really interested to know if there's anything that maybe I left out that you think would be important to have for a first-timer. All the tools that I just talked about are going to be linked down in the description if you want to check those out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this, and check out my DIY playlist for comprehensive videos on both the BMW and our Scion FRS. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you found this helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.